All right, so now we transition and talk with Karen about the Home Energy Plus Furnace Program. So Karen, take it away.
All right, thank you, Jason. Well, the Home Energy Plus Furnace Program is a year-round program, and we provide assistance to eligible low-income Wisconsin households when their primary heating system is no longer working, or it's not working the way it should, or it becomes unsafe. So the local weatherization agencies, they're the ones responsible for managing program delivery. They get the subcontractors on board, and then they also invoice for payment. The WEAP agency, that's the Wisconsin Home Energy Assistance Program, they verify the applicant is eligible, and then they also then issue the referral email to the weatherization agency. WEAP and weatherization agencies work cooperatively to ensure program goals and requirements are met. And we also need to make sure we provide timely delivery of service as well. All other applicable WEAP and weatherization program requirements apply. So in order to be considered for the furnace program to get service from our HE Plus Furnace program, the customers must be eligible for WEAP, Wisconsin Home Energy Assistance Program. That's how we base our eligibility. WEAP eligible homeowners can receive furnace program services, and we also offer our services to some renters as well. And we'll get into that here in just a bit. So when the WEAP worker refers a customer to the program, to the furnace program, the weatherization agency or their subcontractor will actually visit the customer's home. They will do an assessment to find out if the customer's heating system should be repaired or replaced, and we can do both. It is important to note, though, that there is no entitlement to furnace program services, and that means that they can be denied and or deferred for many different reasons. And again, I'll go into those in just a bit. So there are program requirements that must be met before a WEAP worker can make the furnace program referral. The customer's furnace must either be not operating at all, or not providing any heat, or operating in an unsafe manner. And that's such a thing. If the customer's carbon monoxide detector is going off, we'd be concerned about safety there. Maybe flames rolling out of the firebox, those types of things would be considered a health and safety issue for us. A no heat situation does not exist. This means that customers will not be eligible if their heating system is functioning, but the distribution system is only delivering heat to part of the dwelling. It must be a complete no heat situation before the customer would be eligible. If the heating system is working, but not working as good as it should, again, that's not considered a no heat emergency. And something else too that does happen with some of our customers, if the heating system is not running because their electric has been disconnected, or if they have no fuel, then we're not able to issue a furnace referral. We would have the customer get fuel and maybe receive some crisis money from our WEAP program to get their electricity hooked back up again. Several of our customers have more than one heating system, but only the heating system that utilizes the primary fuel designated in their WEAP application. When they apply for WEAP, the WEAP worker will ask, what type of fuel do you use? What is the main source of heat for your home? And they'll say, well, we have a forced heat furnace, and that's what heats most of our home. So then they come and say, well, we do also have a backup wood stove that's not working. We wouldn't be able to work on that wood stove because it's not their primary heating source of heat. We do consider fuel switches, though. Speaking of wood stoves, we do have, especially in northern Wisconsin, a lot of our customers heat with wood stoves. And as they get older and they're not quite as physically able to go and get the wood and cut the wood and store the wood, we would consider a fuel switch then for this customer. We would consider switching from the wood stove to a natural gas furnace if natural gas is available. But we can talk about that with the customer. We'll talk eligibility versus ineligibility for structures coming up here in just a bit, but another requirement is there must be an existing unit installed. They have to have a furnace or a heating unit in their home originally. We can't come in and put one in that where there has never been one. And again, homeowners must be current WEAP eligible customers. And for rental units, we do some rental units with the caveat that both the tenant and the landlord are WEAP eligible. So that is how we assist with some of our renters as well, as long as the owner is WEAP eligible as well. The dwellings that are eligible for the furnace program include owner-occupied single-family homes. We work on owner-occupied condos, owner-occupied mobile homes or manufactured homes, and we can work on rentals, including single-family homes, mobile or manufactured, and multiple units up to 4 units. And again, the rental requirements require that both the homeowner and the tenant be eligible for WEAP. Some of the dwellings that we get asked to work on that we just can't, we consider them ineligible buildings or structures. These include mobile shelters or structures or other shelters not designed for year-round habitation. So a vacation home or a secondary home, we're not able to assist with that. We are also not able to work on vehicles such as RVs, campers, and we do get requests for that because some of our customers do live in campers. We will not be able to help if you're in a group home, a halfway house, government facilities such as a jail, other governmental care facilities. We are not able to assist with transitional housing facilities, such as rooming houses and that. And also no abandoned spaces or buildings that a customer may be living in. We're not able to assist with that through our furnace program. The Home Energy Plus Furnace program includes 3 basic types of referrals. And the factors that determine the type of the referral are the time of year in which the no heat occurs and the way in which the referral for services is initiated. So we do have, as you can see, we do have emergency referral type, which we consider an emergency to be between October 1st and May 15th. That is because it can get super cold in Wisconsin and we really need to get out there and get these furnaces fixed. So for the emergency referral season, October 1st through May 15th, we have some specific emergency response timelines that apply. What we consider a non-emergency referral is in what we call the non-heating season. So that goes from May 16th to September 30th. And the WEAP agency, again, will make that referral. And we also have a weatherization referral. And that is where our weatherization crew is in the home, they're doing the weatherization work, and they notice that the customer's heating system needs to be repaired or replaced, and they're unable to complete that through weatherization. So then they will send that to the weatherization agency, will actually send that referral to the WEAP agency at that time. So it's important to know that the emergency or that the furnace program is a year-round program. Year-round, we assist customers. The difference between the emergency referral and a non-emergency referral is the time of year in which it happens. So we have our heating season, which goes from October 1st through May 15th. And because of the extreme temperatures in Wisconsin, we call these emergency referrals. It usually begins with an ill or a sick heating system, and it's either not working or it's not working safely. So the customer would call their WEAP worker, the county. The WEAP worker will confirm eligibility, make sure that the home ownership has been verified, make sure that the applicant has a completed application for the year. The WEAP worker will also then be in charge of ensuring the customer's health and safety while they're waiting for their services. This may be providing them with a space heater. If it's a safety issue where we've got a real concern about carbon monoxide, then we would consider relocating the customers in a hotel, which our crisis funds would pay for. Then the WEAP agency sends the referral email to the weatherization agency, and then the weatherization agency contacts the customer, and that's how we get the ball rolling. So because it is considered an emergency referral, it's cold, it's dire that we get our customers assistance immediately. Because of that, we have 24 hours. Our weatherization agency has 24 hours in which to assess that heating system, and services must be completed within 72 hours.
Karen, hold on a
Yep.
second. Hold on a second. You just showed all the steps and all the things that have to happen. How do they get through that in 72 hours?
Right. It's we have some amazing contractors. I tell you that. Most of our weatherization agencies subcontract the work out to their subcontractors, who they get through a procurement process, a bidding process. And so they know, and they're awesome, that this is an emergency. You know, we can't have our customers without heat when it's 40 below zero with the wind chill. And so our subcontractors are able to get to the customer's home within 24 hours to assess. And because they know that they are the contractor for us during the season, a lot of them will have a stock of heating systems ready. But yeah, we get our services completed within 72 hours. Now, there are some times, obviously, when that can't happen. For instance, perhaps the customer needs to clean the area, the path leading to the heating unit so that it can be accessible. Sometimes we have to have the customers clean up a little bit if their furnace is in the basement and maybe there's clutter. So sometimes it goes over those 72 hours, but the 72 hours, that's our very strict federal guideline.
Wow. I mean, I think it's just incredible when in those intense times when you know that contractors are already really busy, everyone's kind of pushing through, and then you have these extreme weather conditions. That if I was an individual who had a no heat situation, I know within 24 hours I'm going to have somebody at least there to evaluate it, to figure out how it can be fixed. That's pretty impressive.
Yes, it is. And again, our contractors really are amazing, and they care about the customers. We employ contractors from the very region where the customers are, and so a lot of them are friends, neighbors. They know each other, and they care about that. And so it's very impressive that they get out there within 24 hours. So we just finished up with our non-heating season, non-emergency referrals. They ended on September 30th. And so we are allowed a little bit more time with those referrals because it's not considered an emergency season, a heating season. And again, the process is the same. The customer has an issue with their furnace. They call their weep worker. The weep worker confirms eligibility and ensures that their health and safety is being looked at. They'll send the email to the weatherization agency, and then the weatherization agency will contact the customer. And so we have a little more flexibility because it's not quite so life-threatening during the non-heating season. So they have 10 business days to assess the furnace. But if there's a safety concern, we get back to that 24 hours again. If the customer is calling and saying they've got, their carbon monoxide detector going off like crazy, that's a safety concern, and then we would get in there and get it assessed within 24 hours. But typically, if there's no health and safety concern, they assess within 10 business days, and then the services would be completed within 30 calendar days. And then, as I mentioned, weatherization referrals, these are year-round. It's just a little bit different as far as the process goes, because the customer is already in the process of being weatherized. So the weatherization agency would be the ones to verify home ownership, because they had to verify that to weatherize. The weatherization agency ensures the customer's health and safety, and then they contact the weep worker to have the weep worker enter the referral into the system. And so with the weatherization referral, again, we've got 10 business days to assess. If it's a safety concern, we need to be there within 24 hours, and services completed within 30 calendar days. So the weatherization agency plays a really big role in the whole Home Energy Plus furnace program. When they receive a referral, they receive it via email. And so then they will have either someone from the weatherization agency, or most have subcontractors, HVAC subcontractors. They will assess the furnace. They will go in, take a look, find out what's wrong. They will decide whether or not they should repair or replace the furnace. Or there are instances where we deny or defer the request for various reasons that we can go into. And then the weatherization agency is also responsible for the admin paperwork. They do the invoicing, and then you get the contractors paid. That is all done through the weatherization program. We do have some reasons for denial. We don't like to deny services, but sometimes we have to. Some of the reasons for denial could be because the heating system is working. You know, if they say, well, I've got heat, but I set the thermostat at 75, but it's only getting up to 74, we were not able to assist in that situation. Sometimes the household will have adequate resources or assets on their own. We don't have an asset test in our program, but sometimes our customers, if we know that they have the assets at home and are maybe willing to pay for this on their own, we will ask them if they could do that. Heating systems located in an ineligible structure, that would be a denial. There have been times where we have run out of funds. And the more demand there is for the program, the more likely that's going to happen. We get funded annually. So towards the end of the heating season, our funds really get down there. And so if we don't have the funds, then we would have to deny at that time. We also defer jobs where we give the customer an opportunity to clean up the house, and we say, okay, we can give you some time to get your basement cleaned up, and then let us know when it's cleaned up. We'll come back and then we'll assess the furnace at that time. So they can be deferred as well. Other reasons too that we could deny service, if the worker's safety is threatened. If somehow the customer has altered their heating system so that it just doesn't work, it's been mistreated, they haven't maintained it, that would be a reason for for denial. Or if they have a secondary heating system that could work. If they do have that wood stove that could heat the house, we would consider denying them at that time. And there's other reasons as well. We don't like to deny our customers, but sometimes we have to. We do have other programs that are run by the Department of Administration that we could refer our customers to, other community programs that perhaps could assist them with that denial reason. And our denials are not subject to appeal because our program is not an entitlement program. So our customers are not able to appeal the decision that has been made. And that's basically what I've got for the furnace program.
That's really interesting. I mean, just kind of hearing how it all works, when it is, and I know you mentioned too. We talk about it here in the office sometimes about the funds, and sometimes you're going to run through those funds over the course of the heating season. But is it safe to assume that happens late in that timeline, not kind of right in the middle of winter?
That is true. That is safe to assume. Usually our program year is from October 1st to September 30th. And so as we get into September, so our heating season starts October 1st. So technically we're not in the heating season when the funds would be running low, which is good.
Right. Somebody was thinking when they came up with
that.
Yeah. I just wanted to bring Mary back in, and either of you can talk on this, but with the current situation with COVID, how has that impacted, what kind of impact has that had, say, since we were just talking about furnace, what kind of impact has it had, do you maybe see as a potential challenge this particular winter?
Well, it has had an impact. I mean, the biggest impact is on energy assistance. So that's where individuals receive financial assistance to help them pay their utility bill. Now, again, energy assistance is not going to pay all of your utility bill or energy bill. It's only going to pay a portion of it. And because we've changed the eligibility criteria to only look at 1 month instead of where it was previously 3 months, we're going to have a lot more households that are going to be eligible now. So I think the demand is going to be pretty high this year. I mean, with weatherization, it kind of is, it's a delayed demand in a sense that, these individual homes are now, they have the application in, we'll put them on that priority list. So we'll probably see that peak a few months down the road.
I think too, as far as another angle, as far as the furnace program goes, when there was the shutdown at the beginning of when the pandemic started, and there was the shutdown, it actually shut down the production plants that make the furnaces and make the pieces for the furnaces and heating systems. And so there was there's a real worry about a shortage of heating units. So our agencies are kind of having to struggle with that. You know, we've got these very strict timelines that they have to follow. Well, what do they do if their unit is on back order and they can't get their unit in? And so again, that's where we come in with temporary heat. We give them the space heaters, you know, which helps. It's not, of course, the final solution. We can also relocate homes if we need to. If we need to get the family out and into a hotel, we will. Another thing I think too for the COVID is our contractors. They want to know if the household if anyone in the household has tested positive for COVID, because it's so, you know, it's so contagious and mysterious too. And so a lot of our agencies will do a triage call first to the customer before going there to find out if anyone has tested positive. And how does the household feel about one of our crew members coming in? They want to know, is your crew member okay and is he healthy? So these you know, questions that we never really thought of before that we have to ask now of our customers. It's pretty wild.
Mm-hmm. Was there, I think you mentioned in our conversation earlier this week too, that there's been a little more flexibility from the perception of how you can order parts, or maybe you had things lined up because of that potential, lack of this part or this furnace being eligible from your normal source. There's a little more flexibility to get that from an alternative source or something similar, right?
Correct.
I-
So we're trying to be a little bit more flexible on our policy because of COVID. There's, as Karen mentioned, there's shortages of some heating systems. There's also shortages of freezers and refrigerators. So we are allowing, them to kind of look for like models. Again, we're trying to, look for energy efficient models to install. So we are starting to see some of those shortages, and I anticipate that will continue as long as this pandemic continues. And it's a variety of reasons, either, facilities where they've never really maybe had to think about personal protective equipment for their workers, and now they are. Our weatherization crews are kind of used to using their personal protective equipment, so that's not anything new for them. Although we've seen shortages in the supply, again, just because the demand is so high. So it is going to have a big impact on our program. The other thing is that we are asking is if, we are weatherizing a home, or even for the furnace program, the household members that are there, that they would go to a separate room, close the door, distance themselves from the workers, or wear a mask as well, or will defer the situation until it improves. We want to keep our workers safe as well. So it's very important to us. And the agencies across the state, it's a struggle for them to manage and monitor all of this.
Yeah, it's definitely a new world and situation for all of us.
It really is, yes.
But I think what all of that shows, what you just talked about, is a dedication and commitment to serving the customers by having added flexibility, by understanding the challenges and trying to tackle them. And I think that just the representation from the state, the leadership from the division has helped all the agencies really understand that, hey, we're going to still be able to serve our customers. And that's great for all the agencies around Wisconsin.
And the agencies want to serve their customers, We're just having to kind of rethink some things and take some different approaches.
We've all heard stories, of some of the challenges people had over the summer keeping up with utility bills, and maybe not as much in Wisconsin, but other states. and now the winter's flipping, and we know that's going to be a challenge here. And how can we do our part? And that's what this program's all about. These programs are all about, is how can we do our parts to
Right.
help our residents make it through another winter.
So, and just to note, the moratorium that typically, I think it's April 15th, that, utilities can start to shut off those households that have not paid their utility bill. But the moratorium was extended. So now we're, thanks to the Public Service Commission, and we're, the utilities are not shutting anyone off at this time, but those bills will still be there come spring.
And just to clarify, so I know it's the furnace program, but it also covers other type of heating systems as well, just so people understand that.
Correct.
Right. Yep. We do. It does get confusing because not everybody has a furnace. Some people have a boiler or a wood stove, and so it's also all types of heating systems, basically.
And we just use that term because that's how most customers think of their heating unit, as a furnace.
Right. And the HE plus furnace, boiler, wood stove system wasn't going to fit all in.
It's a bit long, yeah.
Right. And I don't know, heating system just didn't make it in there, I guess. But like I said, most people think of whether it's a boiler, they even think of it as a furnace. So
yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Karen, Mary, for explaining this to us, sharing this with anyone who is interested in hearing more about these programs. But like I've kind of said before, these programs operate quietly, around the state, but the impact is huge. So thank you for what both of you do. Thanks for being involved. Thanks for supporting our residents here in Wisconsin, and all of us, for speaking for all of us around the state, the agencies that run some of these things. We really appreciate the opportunity to do that.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you, Jason.
All right, that's it for this one. We'll be back in November with more pH Factor, and we'll talk a little bit more about home repairs and fall home maintenance coming up next month.